What do you do when you have more than one offer of representation from agents? I think as a writer, you just go for so long thinking, please, I just need one person to love me and love my story, that you don't really plan on having more than one and then having to make that choice. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So we'll start with Kristen. Why don't you share a little bit about how you made a decision when you had more than one offer?
Okay, so I had 5 offers of representation, and I actually really struggled with making the decision because I really, really, really liked all of the offering agents. But I want to talk about the kinds of things I asked them about. So I feel like it's really easy to go into a phone call with an agent and just be like really excited and get totally overwhelmed and then forget everything that you need to ask and maybe not even know what you need to ask. So I guess that's the first thing that I would suggest is like there are so many resources on the internet, and I'll list some in the little thing underneath the video, the kinds of things that you should ask about, because there are a lot of things to know to like help you make the best decision possible. The first thing you need to do is go into the phone call with like a list of questions and a list of things that you absolutely need to know. And don't end the phone call until you know them all. And if the phone call ends before you know them all, then email the agent, follow up, and say, I forgot to ask you these questions, because that's really important for making the decision. The first thing you should talk about is your book, obviously, which is probably what the agent will want to talk about first. So why the offering agent loved your book and what they think needs to change, like maybe some of their revision ideas, so that you kind of get a sense of like where they see the book going, and so that you can decide if they see it going the same direction as you or if not. You want to know what their submission strategy is, so the kinds of houses they're thinking of. Are they big houses? Are they small houses? How many editors they're planning to submit to in the first round, how many rounds they're planning to do if the book doesn't sell in the first round, all of that sort of thing. Are they well connected in the industry? Do they know a lot of editors? Do they know the right editors for your book? You want to ask them about your future projects. Are they in it? Do they want to sign you for just this one book? Or are they interested in having you more long term? Are they interested in your future ideas? So you want to know what kind of experience they have. If they haven't been an agent, have they been in the industry in some capacity? Have they been in editorial? Or my agent, for example, was a book scout for 10 years before she came to agenting. You want to know what kind of experience they have. You want to know the number of years. You want to know how many clients. And you want to know how many sales. Make sure you ask how many clients do you have and how many sales have you made. You want to know all those things. You can probably get a sense of this from the conversation. Like some agents are far more like businessy and professional. Other agents are more friendly and like easygoing. And that totally depends on you. Do they want to overhaul your book completely, or do they just want to make light edits? Some agents don't really want to touch a book before they take it out on submission. Other agents want to edit the heck out of it, which is what my agent is like. So you need to know what you want in terms of editorial stuff. How often do they communicate with you, and what's their preferred method? Do they email? Do they phone? Do they interact with you on Twitter? Some agents are like really active on Twitter. Others aren't even on Twitter. You need to know like what you want and if they're a good fit that way. Do they have a sense of guiding you for your career? So are they just interested in like selling your book, or are they interested in like building your presence as an author? Are they interested in like your future as an author and like how to sort of market you, I guess, like how like to guide you through that? What kind of reputation does the agency have? How long has it been around? Who are their clients? Are their clients best-selling authors? Are there award winners on their list? Are there books that you know on their list? All of those things you want to think about. You want to see if it's for one book. A lot of contracts are for just one book, and then a lot of contracts are for like a period of 3 years, for like however many books you write within a term, or even into the future. You want to also know the termination details, like how to terminate the contract. And I would, if I were you, I would ask to see the contract before you make any decisions, just so you know what it looks like and what you're kind of getting into before you say, yes, I want to accept your offer of representation. So ask to see the contract. Your agent should always take 15%, and foreign agents should always take 20%. That's industry standard. So this is something I never thought I would have to think about, but you do need to think about it. And I ended up going, I'll tell you that I ended up going with an agency that works with co-agents. So they have different agents in different territories around the world that have better relationships with the publishers in those territories. So they go through those agents. They don't try and make the connection themselves because they're in North America. And that is just the type of foreign representation, I guess, that I wanted. But other agencies do it differently. So other agencies, they'll use someone at another agency, like their foreign rights person. But you want to know what you're getting into in terms of foreign rights. So ask about that. Also, film, audio, and TV rights. Ask if they are well connected with film agents, and if they plan to keep film rights, or if they're going to sell, or if they're going to give them to your publisher. You want to know those kinds of things. Ask to speak with 2 clients. 1 client is okay. If you can speak with 2 clients, it's better. And I would ask to speak with a client who has a book published or is at least under contract. Maybe their book hasn't come out yet. And ask to speak with a client who does not have a book contract and does not have any books published. So just sort of like a newbie little client, so that you can kind of get a sense of like how your agent treats both their sort of like someone that they have made a sale for and someone that they haven't made a sale for. Then in my experience, because all of my offers were super great and the agencies were like really rock solid agencies, it was a really difficult decision for me. They all, like, I made a pro and con list with all of those factors in it, and they were all sort of coming up the same. And so I had to kind of ask different questions at the end. So the questions that I ended up having to ask, because everyone was so stellar, was which agent is fighting the hardest for me, which agent gets my work on a gut level, and who would it break my heart to turn down. So those were kind of my like tie-breaking questions. That's probably way too much information, but I will break it down a little bit beneath the video.
So basically, have a nice day, everyone. Kristen just broke it all down. That's all you need to know. I mean, that's the list we both, I think you sent to me also, and we were kind of, because I was new to this when it happened, and I never, ever expected to have more than 1 offer. Like, that's just out of my realm of expectation. Definitely the number one thing for me, and this comes down to the gut thing, but I could tell that he really understood my vision for the story and was really wanting to work. He is editorial as well, but I knew he wanted to work within that vision and wasn't going to try to change it. I feel like, editing is trying to get you to the heart of your story. I have made changes based on discussions I've had with my agent since then. Or, they're not just small line things. I mean, these are some larger things. But all of the changes, I knew he understood the heart of the story and was pushing me closer to that and getting me there even so that they're even stronger, those themes that I wanted to have. Whereas I had another offer of representation where this other agent would have had me shift in a direction. It's kind of like the gravity at the center of your story. You want the gravity to always be the thing that you're so passionate about, the reason you wrote the story. And if someone tries to take it another direction, like, that's for me when you want to say, well, if you talk with an agent, you will have a really good sense of that. This is my, like, shameless plug for my agent, but he's awesome for a lot of reasons. But also, we were able to talk on the phone very comfortably right away, and just, I could tell he knew all of the characters of it, and it was right on target with what I was hoping for them. So it was just this really nice back and forth, like talking with a CP that I've known my whole life. And so that made me feel really good about, okay, anything we work on together, he knows, he gets where I'm trying to go with this. If that, makes it a little less vague than just trust your gut.
I also just want to point out that our agents are very, very different. They have very different styles. Like Stephen is much more, I feel like he's much more like sort of dignified and like gentleman-like and very, like I could be getting that wrong, but that's sort of the vibe I get from Stephen. Whereas Heather, oh what? Yeah, yeah. Heather is much more like bubbly and cheerful and totally fierce. But she's very so easygoing and so like full of light and like she's totally the person that I needed. Agents could be total opposites and still be like the same amount of great. So
secondly, I was just going to say that comfort level was huge for me. You don't want to be intimidated by your agent. I mean, I know sometimes it's really exciting to have maybe like a big name in the industry, but if for some reason you don't feel comfortable with them and you know you're not going to be able to speak up and tell them what you're actually thinking, I don't know how that will bode for the relationship. You need to be able to be comfortable advocating for yourself and for your work. If you are sitting there with an agent offer, you don't have multiple offers, you just have the one, you still want to think about all this stuff. I know it could be tempting to just say yes, because you have an offer and you're like, yeah, I gotta say yes. What if this is my only chance? But if some of these things are not sitting well, and there's some red flags coming up, either on the practical side of things, or even just on a personal level, if you're just feeling like, I don't know if this is the direction I want to go in, and I feel like I'm going to get pressured into doing something I'm not comfortable with, listen to your gut. I'm going to say that a lot, I think, to wait for the right one. It's like getting married, so.
So you want to feel wooed. You want to, like, if an agent is not making you feel like you are like the most special creature in the whole world, I would suggest that maybe that's a problem. To totally respond to what Jo just said about if you only have one offer, don't just take it because it's an offer. There's a lot of agents who won't be able to get your book where you want it to be or you need it to be, and like maybe they have the best of intentions, and maybe they're really great people, and that's great, but you do want the best representation possible. So during pitch wars, I actually had one offer of representation before the pitch round. It was for another book, and I got on the phone with her, and I could tell right away that she wasn't the agent for me, but this was like the thing I wanted. I wanted an agent to take me on. I wanted my book to sell. So it was really hard for me to turn her down because it's like, what if I never got another offer? But I still did it because in my gut, it didn't feel like the right choice. And then a couple weeks later, I had 5 offers of representation from agents that I all felt like super happy with. So don't just go with the first agent who comes around if it doesn't feel right.